Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at cultural differences. So we're going to learn some new vocabulary, and also I'm going to show you some structures that you can use in your speaking to help you sound smooth and hopefully to give you some confidence. If you have the structure and you have the vocabulary, there's not too much to worry about, is there? So that should hopefully boost your confidence. Okay. I'm glad I'm not sat behind him on the plane. He's rather inconsiderate. That's our first word for today. Inconsiderate. Hey, stop being so inconsiderate. If somebody is inconsiderate, they don't think about others and often cause people problems. The guy with the grey hair is being inconsiderate. He is just thinking of himself and is causing a problem for the man behind him. Has that ever happened to you before? I've had a few people recline on me. Okay, so that's our first word for today. Inconsiderate. Our next word is customary. It is customary to why in Thailand. In England, where I come from, we shake hands when we meet somebody. But in Thailand, it is customary to why. Okay, what is it customary to do when meeting people from your country? Oh, that was me on my first day. No, it wasn't. He's taller than I am. Inappropriate. Inappropriate. It would be inappropriate to hug a Thai person, as Thai people, why? Taking a big heavy jacket on holiday to Thailand would be inappropriate. Think of some more examples of inappropriate. It would be inappropriate to carry ice cream on a trek in Chiang Mai in the north of Thailand. It would be very inappropriate. It would be inappropriate to take sunscreen to England in winter. There's really no need. Okay, so now we're going to put the new vocabulary into practice, which is what it's all about, isn't it? So it would be inappropriate to, and then we can have an infinitive phrase. What on earth is an infinitive phrase, I hear you say? An example, it would be inappropriate to show. So an infinitive phrase is like to, and then the base form of the verb, or verb one if you like. It would be inappropriate to show a horror movie to a child. So that's one way, that's one structure you can use. Another one is using a gerund phrase at the beginning, and then we say would be inappropriate at the end. The example here, showing instead of to show, right? Showing a horror movie to a child would be inappropriate. Nice little structure there to improve your speaking. Okay, our next word is acceptable. You might have seen this one. We hear this word a little more than the others, I'd say. Acceptable. The example here, if Burger King had a new burger called the Big One, and you opened the box to find the burger was the same size as the one in the picture, would that be acceptable? Absolutely not. My son could eat about 400 of those. He has a very healthy appetite. Did you know in China and Taiwan, if you burp after a meal, it means it was delicious and the chef will be delighted? Would that be acceptable in Thailand? Absolutely not. Don't do that in Thailand. It'd be very rude. Don't do it in England either. How about in your countries? Is it acceptable to burp after a meal in your country? Here we go. Another structure that you can take away and use. Gerund phrase plus is unacceptable. Example, throwing litter on the floor is unacceptable. Or, it is unacceptable to throw litter on the floor. Can you see what we're doing here with these structures? The gerund phrase and the infinitive phrase. I kept the two sentences very similar, so you can see that we only changed the form. We didn't change any of the vocabulary, we just changed the form, the order. Top tip there, that will boost your IELTS speaking scores. Not only for IELTS tests, for any tests, but also in your daily life. It sounds quite refined. Refined is like posh, you know. If you use some of these structures, you'll sound very formal, very posh. You'll sound very good. Our next word, insensitive. You know what sensitive means, right? Well, surprise, surprise. Insensitive means the opposite. Can you think of any other words where we put the prefix in before and then it gives the word the opposite meaning? I can think of one that's just popped up in my mind. Active and inactive. How many do you know? The guy pointing the finger is being insensitive. Insensitive people don't care about other people's feelings. They don't put themselves in another person's shoes. They just see things from their viewpoint. Try not to be insensitive. We need to be more sensitive. If anything, if we're more sensitive, we can have more harmony. We will get on with people better. Here in Thailand, they're very sensitive, I find. Always careful not to upset another. Mindful of their behavior and actions, in my experience. Okay, here we can practice the structure again. Calling people fat is insensitive, or it is insensitive to call people fat. It is insensitive to call people ugly. Okay, so we got to be careful what we say, haven't we? Because some things you say in Thailand might land you in hot water if you say them in the West. Do you know what that means? Land you in hot water? It means get you in trouble. Some things you say in Thailand might get you into trouble if you say them in the West. What are you talking about, John? Here's an example. Oh, why are you so fat? I heard this many times in the past here in Thailand, especially in my early days as a backpacker back in the early 2000s. And when I moved to Thailand in 2010, Tamai Oan Jang. That's like, oh, why are you so fat? Don't say this in the West, okay? I know in Thailand we can get away with saying it, but don't say it in the West. It is considered very rude and impolite. This is an example of cultural faux pas. Funny word, right? Looks like forks pass, but we don't say it like that. Faux pas. What is faux pas? It's where you do or say something that is acceptable in your country, but it is unacceptable in another. So, for example, if I invited you to my home in England, if I had one, I would say, don't bother taking your shoes off, come right in. In England, we don't take our shoes off if we go into somebody's home generally. But here in Thailand, that's the first thing you have to do. Yeah, always take your shoes off before you enter someone's house here in Thailand and other countries in Southeast Asia, in Asia, I believe. Always best to take your shoes off before you enter another person's home. Makes a lot of sense, really, doesn't it, if we think about it? Okay. So this lesson was made for students of mine here in Thailand. What other things do you commonly say here in Thailand that might not be acceptable to say in the West? What other things do you say in your countries that maybe you couldn't say in England or in France or in America, for example? We don't want to land in hot water. Here's a question I ask my students. There's not a question. Here's something I say to my students when we're having this class. I say, talk about a time in the past when you landed in hot water. It's a nice idiom to pick up here as well. Can you imagine if Boris did this in Thailand? If Boris did that in my mother-in-law's house, he would be in some seriously hot water. He would definitely land in hot water if he did that in my mother-in-law's home. Here in Thailand, the feet are considered like quite low. So you always, you never raise your feet high. Like you never put them on a table. No, never do that. Like in England, we have an idiom we use. We say, oh, put your feet up. Come in and put your feet up. It means come in and relax. But you know, in the past, many people would sit back and literally put their feet up on the table. But yeah, if somebody says to you, come inside and put your feet up, it just means relax, okay? Don't put your feet up on the sofa or the coffee table. A cultural faux pas is a social problem where two cultures clash. What is acceptable and considered the norm in one country might be incredibly rude in another. For example, in the UK, it is okay to put your feet up on the table if you're at home. Okay, and be aware of, or beware. Sometimes we just see beware, that's one word. But be aware of, it means like be mindful of, like notice, be careful and notice, pay attention. We have another idiom in English that means the same. We say, keep your wits about you. If you go traveling to some very crowded markets in the world, there might be some pickpockets operating in that area. So you have to keep your wits about you. W-I-T-S. Keep your wits about you. It just means be aware of pickpockets. Be aware of danger. Nowadays, we have to be aware of scams, don't we? When we're online, when we're shopping online, doing anything online, we need to be very careful nowadays, I believe. What do we need to be aware of when traveling in another country? Be aware of the local customs. We don't want to commit any cultural faux pas, do we? Okay, so let's have a review. Let's have a review and see how many you can remember. The guy reclining his seat is tired? No, stick to the vocabulary. Sleepy? No, the vocabulary from today's lesson. Do you remember? Inconsiderate. The guy reclining his seat is inconsiderate. He's not thinking about the guy behind him. Fatso. Don't say that. Don't ever say that to anybody, unless it's a very close friend. This guy doesn't care about others' feelings. He is... If we don't care about another person's feelings, we are insensitive. Insensitive. Okay. What's the word for this one? If he went to work dressed like that, would it be acceptable? It depends where he works, doesn't it? It wouldn't be acceptable if he wanted to go and work in a school, would it? But if he was a lifeguard, I guess he would have to change his shorts. But he might be okay. Yes, that's right. Good answer. Very, very good. Excellent. That was fast. That's correct. Yes, shaking a Japanese man's hand would be inappropriate, I think. They have they bow there, I believe. Although I imagine they wouldn't be too shocked. They'd probably shake your hand, I imagine. Our friends in Japan, maybe they can comment and let us know. Okay, do you remember this one? Putting your feet on a table in Thailand would be a social or a cultural faux pas. Faux pas. That's how we pronounce that word, those words. Ah, who's that guy? He looks a bit familiar. Anybody recognize him? Is it the guy selling oranges at the market? Oh, no. It's Steven Gerrard. I think he played for Liverpool. So in Thailand, it is customary. That's right. That's your answer. It is customary to why? It's the custom in that country. It's like the tradition in that country. It's what they do in that country. Customary. And a pickpocket, picks pockets. Picks pockets. Yeah, that's what a pickpocket does. A pickpocket picks pockets. Can you say that fast? A pickpocket picks pockets. So we must pickpockets when in crowded places. We must be aware of pickpockets when in crowded places. There we are. That's it. I hope the vocabulary was useful for you and the structures as well. So you not only have a handful of new words that you can use, but also you have the structures to follow. That should hopefully promote confidence. You know, I know the structure's right. I know the vocabulary I'm using is correct. You have no option but to be confident, right? That's how we can get confident in English. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And share as well. That would be handy.